Hello from my desk. In today's video, I'm going to be going over heat acclimation, what it means, the benefits, the downsides, and why I think it could help you in your next heat-related excursion on the bike. Now, this could be a daunting thing. It's kind of scary to attempt as a cyclist or an athlete in general, but it has been shown to provide many benefits under certain circumstances. Well-known professional cyclists like Remco Evenepoel and Tadej Pogačar use heat acclimation training in order to prepare for races like the Tour de France and the Vuelta. So it's pretty apparent that this training stimulus is pretty effective. Now, I will be referring to many scientifically backed sources throughout this video. They're all linked in the description. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be going over heat adaptation training, what it is, the benefits of it, all that stuff. In the background, I'm going to be actually doing a heat training session. It's just about an hour of endurance on the trainer, and I'll explain what I'm doing, the benefits of heat adaptation, all that stuff. Let me know if you guys like this type of video, because I'm just trying stuff out. I want to see what works, what I find enjoyable to make. So let me know if this is something that you enjoy and want to see more of. Without further ado, I'll take you through me getting ready and then getting on the bike, and then once I get on the bike, I'll start with the voiceover and the research and all that stuff that I've prepared. So without further ado, let's get into the warm-up. So one thing I like to do before every ride, especially indoors, since indoor training is significantly more taxing than most outdoor training, is to warm up the muscles of my core and my lower body. Don't mind this hole, I got it while I was mountain biking. And I like to do some squats, some bridges, stuff like that to warm up the legs, warm up the muscles. That way, whenever I get on the bike, I'm prepared for the training stimulus that I'm going to be stressing my body with. Now that we're warmed up, we're going to get my shoes on, go out, start the ride, and then, like I said before, we'll start the voiceover and all that stuff. So, let's get it. Okay, sorry I didn't get this in before. I wanted to get my weight before the ride to see how much I lost in sweat. I took about 1.5 pounds off for the kit. According to this article, heat acclimation is the process of stimulating physiological adaptations that allow athletes to perform better in hot environments. But how do you know that you're actually doing this type of training correctly? The best way you can achieve this training stimulus is to raise your body temperature, your core body temperature, to around 38.5 degrees Celsius or 101.5 degrees Fahrenheit, and maintaining this over short periods of time, over multiple days or weeks. Fortunately, the benefits of heat acclimation could show up potentially in around 7 to 10 days, but greater effects will be seen after training for longer periods of time. So the article basically said that athletes do this to perform better in the heat, but why does acclimation actually work? According to the National Library of Medicine, heat acclimation or acclimatization occurs when repeated exposure to heat-inducing adaptations that enhance thermoregulatory mechanisms and heat tolerance, leading to improved exercise performance in warm to hot conditions. While heat acclimation can be achieved in colder temperatures, athletes that want to achieve the most out of this stimulus will want to do it in hotter temperatures, or at least with a high body temperature, like I stated before. This can be done in a few different ways. The most preferred way to acclimate is to use post-exercise passive heating. Going back to the same article, post-exercise passive heating is best done by working up to about 30 minutes in a dry or wet sauna or hot tub after exercise, 2 to 3 hours endurance pace, or 90 minutes intense interval workout. For 7 to 10 consecutive days is a good starting point for an effective protocol for heat acclimation. And if you aren't training beforehand, raise the time in the sauna to around 45 to 60 minutes. Another popular way to acclimate, the one that a lot of pros and I tend to use, is to layer on multiple thick layers of kit, which decreases the breathability of it. Since the breathability of the kit is lowered, that means that more heat gets trapped around your body, and the sweat doesn't have anywhere to evaporate to, so it stays on your skin, heating up your skin more. The cycle continues until your core body temperature rises. So where do you use heat acclimation? The most common way to utilize this method of training is to prepare for races that will be taking place in significantly higher ambient temperatures than what you're currently living in. This is why I'm doing acclimation, because I'm doing a stage race in Arizona in February, where it's going to be a lot hotter than it is in Indiana right now. This is the reason that most pros acclimate as they prepare for the Tour de France and other summer races. So you're probably saying, So you're saying I should do heat acclimation, but you haven't given me any benefits, other than just saying it will make you better in the heat. I will go over that in the next chapter of this video, which is the benefits and drawbacks of heat acclimation. This isn't part of the video, but I'm filming this over multiple days, so that's why I look different. So I have a different sweatshirt on and stuff. So I just wanted to let you know. According to the CDC, acclimatization, acclimation, and acclimatization are the same thing, so I'm just going to keep saying acclimation, is the beneficial physiological adaptations that occur during repeated exposure to a hot environment. These physiological adaptations include increased sweating efficiency. I'll go on about that in a little bit, so I'm not going to elaborate on that. Stabilization of the circulation, the ability to perform work with lower core body temperature and heart rate. Let's break down each of these points to understand them better. Starting off with increase in sweat efficiency. This basically means that you start sweating earlier, and the sweat that you do produce is more electrolyte dense, and you produce more of said sweat. These are all great benefits as they help your body stay in homeostasis and release as few electrolytes as possible, which is important for muscle function. On to the next point, stabilization of the circulation. Now, what the heck does this mean? And I'm going to be honest, I didn't know what this meant until I did some research on it. Stabilization of the circulation basically means that you keep a stable blood flow through your body. This is beneficial because it allows your body to take in and use as much oxygen as possible, which obviously is important for an endurance sport like cycling. The third and final point I'm going to be going over is the ability to perform work with lower core temperature and heart rate. Okay, not going to lie, this one's pretty straightforward. Your body gets used to being at a higher core body temperature and releases more heat, which means that your core body temperature stabilizes, therefore bringing your heart rate down and ultimately increasing your performance in the heat. Fortunately, all of these benefits are achievable to the majority of cyclists if they just start heat acclimation, and that goes for any other athlete too, but since I'm a cyclist, I focus on cycling. Since this is achievable for most people, it's highly recommended by most coaches to do heat acclimation before you race in a hot environment. Unfortunately, there are drawbacks to this training stimulus, which I'm going to talk about in the next part of this chapter. The most common drawback to heat acclimation and its effects is an increased loss of fluids in the body. If you don't take in more liquid during heat acclimation than you do during normal training, your body will eventually run out of water and other fluids to sweat out. This is obviously not good, and is something that you need to keep an eye on when training and racing in the heat in general. It's a good rule of thumb to drink a half quart of fluid for each pound lost in sweat. For example, during a workout where you are losing around a pound of water per hour in sweat for 4 hours, you should be taking in at least 16 ounces or 500 milliliters per hour, which equals out to around 64 ounces of water or 2 liters of water over the 4 hours. This rule of thumb prevents you from losing too much water and possibly going into heat exhaustion or heat stroke. Not to mention, if you don't take in more water, you're going to get more fatigued, and your muscles could cramp because they are getting so fatigued. Speaking of cramps, this brings me on to my next point, which is if you don't take in enough fluids, your muscles will start to seize up because your body needs water to function. And when you talk about heat acclimation, you're basically bringing your body to a fever voluntarily and then training at a fairly high intensity at that high core body temperature. So it's quite easy to go over the edge and end up hurting yourself more than you're benefiting yourself. The best way to prevent this from happening, from you being dehydrated and cramping and doing all that stuff, is basically just be mindful before you go into the workout with the mindset like, I gotta drink way more water than I usually do. I'm gonna actively think about it. That's what I do personally, and it works for me every time. So I would recommend doing something along those lines. In conclusion, heat acclimation is a valuable resource for athletes looking to improve their performance in the heat, and luckily it's pretty easy to do at home. Thank you all so much for watching. Please feel free to leave comments supporting me or criticizing me in the comments because I want to know how to get better at this whole video making thing. I'm not going to lie, this is a lot of fun to do, and I want to keep doing it, and I want to improve at it, so please let me know how to get better if you have any advice. I hope you have a great night, great day, wherever you're watching this. I don't know what time you're watching this. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.